All right, welcome back. I hope you're having an awesome time so far. Next up, our session is titled How Owners and Developers Gain Insight into Project Delivery and FM. This will be brought to you by two incredible speakers from Revizto. Please join me in welcoming them to our virtual stage.
Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Good
everyone.
afternoon. Give me 1 second here as I share my screen. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a lot of information to share with you guys, and really only a small window to fit it in, but we're really excited to have an audience with you guys as the top real estate development companies in North America. My name is Greg Keller, North American Sales Director with Revizto, and I'm pleased to be joined by my colleague, Brett Settles, who is our Global Director of Customer Success. Today, we're going to be discussing how the AECO industry, that is architecture, engineering, construction, and owners, and more specifically, you all as real estate developers, need to have access to solutions that provide you and your project stakeholders with a seamless integration across the many disparate platforms that are used throughout the building life cycle to ensure proper communication and collaboration for optimal project delivery throughout that entire building life cycle. So in this session, we're going to bring to light how Revizto is indeed that one integrated collaboration platform, as we like to call ourselves, that you truly need to replace all those older disconnected methods with new real-time ways to collaborate on 2D drawings, 3D models, point clouds for existing conditions, 360 photos, drone data, red lines, markups, virtual reality, and more. So that is what we'll be covering today, and not just for project delivery and gaining that oversight into that, but then also how you can use Revizto downstream to have that contextual environment for facilities and asset management. And Brett will be handling more of that side. So we'll kick things off here. Just some background on some of our existing customers in the real estate development space. Related Beal are two of the bigger developers that we've had the pleasure of working with over the last couple of years. Along with some other big names, as you guys can see here, both here in North America and abroad. But I wanted to put this quote from Nick Proto at Related Companies here on this slide, because I think it does really paint a great picture as to where the value comes in for real estate developers leveraging Revizto. Ultimately, there's an increased expectation for you guys to manage many different projects, and those projects are obviously super complex these days. And one of the projects that we had the benefit of using Revizto on with Related was their 50 Hudson Yards project in Manhattan. And just for the size and complexity of that and the aggressive project schedule, they really embraced Revizto to bring all of those project stakeholders together, both on the design side and then on the construction side as well. So just wanted to show you guys a few of our existing customers here on that real estate development side. So when you look at some of the challenges that you guys in the real estate development industry are facing, regarding design and construction and handoff of your project, there are so many different platforms that you have to be working with, right? And how often do you guys lack that insight onto where I am in the design? What am I going to be happy with what's getting designed? Am I going to be happy with what's getting constructed, right? You don't have, in most cases, you don't have that access to that model and all that associated intelligent data that's going to make sure that you're happy with that project. And then you talk about how your design and construction teams deliver that project, and how disparate, how the disparate silos come into play when you talk about communication. Revit and Navisworks and AutoCAD and Tekla and SketchUp and Excel spreadsheets and PDFs and emails and text messages. There's no way to you know, combine all them together so that way nothing slips through the cracks. So you know, that really talks about that siloed method of communication, the lack of the integrated platform throughout those you know, throughout the industry. And then again, you know, problems communicating that design intent to you guys to make sure that you are really you know, satisfied with what they're delivering for you. So those are some of the challenges that you guys face. And then some of the things that Revizto does to obviously solve those challenges. You talk about having one single platform that you can go to, not just you guys as the owners, but also all of your design and your construction and engineering teams, one central hub for all of that intelligent BIM data and the sheets that come along with that. A centralized place to track all of your issues, both in, you know, all the way from schematic design all the way through construction and handoff. Having a platform that you guys can have no matter where you are, when you want to access it, whether it's, you know, in an office, on a laptop, or it's out in the field on an iPad, you know, having that one platform that you can entrust that is that brings everybody together. Having that 2D, 3D intelligent synergy, right? So you have your drawings that you guys are used to working off of, and then you have the 3D model. So really no other platform quite does it like Revizto, where we're able to marry those two worlds together, and then also, you know, have it connected to a live common data environment downstream. And then also a true to scale immersive VR experience. So, you know, one of the hot buttons for a lot of developers these days is to be able to, you know, slap a headset on and be able to intelligently walk through the space and truly gain that context. So those are some of the solutions that Revizto solves. So what I'm going to do is get into a demo of Revizto from the design and construction side and show you guys how you all as developers can really gain that unmitigated access to an intelligent platform like Revizto. So just give me a second here and I'll share my screen. Okay. So here we are in Revizto. Now this is, Revizto is built off of a game engine technology, the Unity gaming platform. So, you know, by nature, it is a very lightweight, easy to use, user-friendly model where, you know, in the past, if one of your designers or contractors is giving you a Revit model or a Navisworks model or giving you 2D sheets, you know, those are obviously nice to have if you can get them, but it's very difficult for you guys really to gain the access that you want in there. So Revizto does provide that democratized access to the model, the sheets, and all the associated intelligent files that come along with that. So what I'm going to do is just give you guys a quick breakdown of some of the ways that you can navigate this model, gain access to the intelligent data around the model, be able to hop around certain views quickly, and then also be able to communicate your own design ideas to your, you know, to your downstream project stakeholders. Then I'll hand it off to Brett, and he'll talk more on the facilities management and asset management piece. So I'm just going to, you know, show you guys a quick way to be able to navigate through the model. You know, keep in mind this is a massive model where we've brought in, you know, all kinds of file types, whether it be Revit models, Civil 3D models, SketchUp models, point cloud data. So, you know, you can see that I'm able to, and it may not come as clear to you guys being over the Zoom meeting, but, you know, again, this is a massive model that I can really, you know, fly around with ease. And everything in this model is, you know, the intelligent data comes through with that, right? So every single item or object that I double click on, I can get access to all of that intelligent metadata, right? So, you know, again, it's very quick and lightweight to be able to jump around this model. However, you know, we want to be able to emphasize that, you know, you don't want to feel intimidated that you've got this massive model and how do I get around and where do I go, right? So some of the things that we've got in place here are tools that allow you to jump around that model without having to physically, you know, go through that entire model, especially if you're talking about a campus like this or a 50-story high-rise. that can take a while. So one of the things that I'd like to jump right into is leveraging the 2D sheets that you guys are probably all accustomed to, and using that as a way to get comfortable and use that as a transition into being able to better view that 3D model. So here I am in our 2D section of Revizto. This is where all of your drawings and other associated 2D documents come from and are housed. So if I open up this sheet here, this is our second floor space plan, as you can see, which I'm sure for all you is probably what you're used to looking at, right? Well, one of the things that we are able to do to allow you guys to get from point A to point B in really the click of a button, and use this 2D that you're comfortable with as that way to transition into 3D is our navigate to 3D button. So if I'm in this space and I want to be able to hop into this office, I can simply click this 3D button up here, and that allows me to just single click wherever I want to go, and instantly it takes me to that room in the 3D model. So again, when I talked earlier about the power of that 2D and 3D model synergy, here's a perfect example of that. Whereas, you guys are undoubtedly used to looking at a dumb PDF that doesn't have the intelligence with it. Now the 2D in Revizto carries with it all that intelligence, including the XYZ coordinate. That's what allows us to be able to use those drawings as a way to get to that spot in the 3D model, right? And then once I'm in there, you can see how I can use the right button of my mouse to just simply look around, click on objects, gain access to that metadata, take measurements, and I'll come back to that. One other thing I want to focus on too with 2D that truly bridges that gap and really brings to light the 2D, 3D model synergy is this intelligent overlay. So again, no better way to illustrate the fact that we can intelligently tie your 2D drawings and your 3D models to life with this 2D overlay. This is probably far and away the most utilized feature when you have people that are trying to make that transition and gain that insight into, going from leveraging the 2D information into the intelligent 3D model. So that's really, when you talk about the easiest way to gain that intelligence and make that transition, this 2D overlay is certainly one of the main features. And keep in mind, this is not anything that you guys would have to, or your downstream project stakeholders have to spend a ton of time setting up. This all comes with the intelligent export from a Revit model, okay? So jumping back, now that we've kind of illustrated the way to go from 2D to 3D, I'm going to now focus back into our 3D model, and really show you guys a couple other ways to be able to get around the model and talk about issue creation and how you're able to see that and provide that design intent or gain access to those issues as you move about the project. So a couple other quick things: viewpoints. So these can be pre-set up. They can be brought in from Revit, from Navisworks, but a whole folder structure of viewpoints that allows us to really jump from point to point. There's also, we have the ability to leverage point clouds. So if I go into, let's see, forgot what.
It's at the very top, Greg, in the very top folder.
Oh, RETCON views. Thanks, Brett. So I click on this 3D plumbing view. You can see how it instantly takes me from one spot in the model to this intelligent view. And we wanted to use this view to show you guys again the power of Revizto and all the file types that you're able to bring into one environment. So we went from working through an intelligent Revit or Navisworks model here in Revizto to a point cloud. So especially when you guys are talking about retrofits and seeing how your new building design is going to fit on top of or within an existing structure, or whether you just want to have that point cloud reality capture to monitor the progress of the ongoing construction, you have the ability to do that in Revizto. And again, it's super lightweight and easy to use and fly through this. So you have a massive mechanical room here that I'm able to really fly through with ease. And you can see how lightweight it is. Additionally, now that we're in here, you talk about things like being able to section cut, right? So, well, let me undo that. I don't know what happened there. There we go. So being able to just quickly, cut a section plane inside of that intelligent model or that point cloud space, being able to come in and take measurements. So let me click out of this, be able to measure, right? Whether it's a point cloud file, whether it's to an Inventor file, a Revit file, a Navisworks file, we can come in here and do measurements. Okay, sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing again. Uncheck the screen grab, the measurement tool, so I can grab our measurement. And again, we have a few different ways to measure inside of Revizto. This one being a laser ruler, where it'll just automatically grab two sides of two surfaces that it will recognize. I can also do point-to-point measurements, minimal distance measurements, spot elevation, slope elevation. So all these tools are able to be done in Revizto really with ease. And again, it is democratized in a way where the learning curve is virtually nothing. You don't have to be a power user, technically in Revit or Navisworks to be able to do that in Revizto. And then real quick, with the minute or so that I have left before I turn it over to Brett, I want to talk briefly about our issue tracker here. So, when you talk about that siloed communication method, the emails back and forth, the screenshots, the PDFs, what are your project stakeholders delivering to you as a way to keep you in the loop as far as where things stand, what issues are being worked through, what programs or what avenues do you have to come in here and communicate what you want to your downstream stakeholders. So this is a single, embedded issue tracker that allows us to have everything in one place. It removes those data silos, and it brings it all into this intelligent issue tracker that then ties it automatically to those 2D documents and those 3D models in one fell swoop. So you can see in this example here, we had actually a sheet overlay with an intelligent section cut of the 3D model. This is our markup view, but if I come here, it brings me to that live view of the 3D model in that section cut. What it also does, it allows me to see where that issue resides on any 2D drawing of where that shares that XYZ coordinate. So you can see how I can click on this 2D section here and not just this one first floor space plan, but also first floor mechanical, because it has that same XYZ coordinate. So again, this gives you guys the ability to come in, see these issues in 2D or 3D, or create these issues for that matter. So if you're in this drawing real quick and you want to be able to, maybe communicate to your architects that you want 2 doors here, let's say, what I can do is come in with our stamp functionality and find whatever pre-formatted stamp that I have here, which are intelligent one-click issue creation, and just drop a stamp here. So I'm going to take this comments to architecture stamp, drop it right on the location of this door. And now what I can do is just say, would like 2 doors here. And now you've instantly made that communication directly to your prime design architect, and they can instantly see that issue, not just here in Revizto, but also natively back into Revit. So I know my time is pretty much up. So with that being said, I'm going to now transition this over to Brett Settles, and he's going to talk a little bit deeper into the issue tracking and how you can leverage it for handoff and with facilities management. So Brett, take it away.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to run through a few slides myself before we dive into the project. So we'll get this open and get in present mode. So what I used to do for a living is I used to work for an EPCM firm. Now, for most of you, you don't develop real estate like this, but I use this example because it was really important for the owner to always be connected to what we were doing. And so as we work through a project lifecycle, you'll notice that as the real estate developers, the owners of these buildings, you really have a stake in every part of this process, from the first napkin sketch all the way to commissioning, right, where you decide to take the building over. And what we have found is when we put this in place with a lot of our owners, they found it very enlightening to be able to be part of the development of their building, understand that they always have insight into each and every phase. So for here, at the beginning phases of the project, we would have been talking about occupational requirements, right? What do the maintenance crews need to be able to do their job? How can they access the critical systems of the building? In hospital projects, we would say, all right, do the OR nurses have access to everything they need by doing that in an immersive environment? And, all sorts of occupational parts that allow that design to really fit the needs of what you're building and the people that are going to occupy the real estate that you're developing. And then, of course, after we figure out what the design intent of your building is, we jump into the coordination part of it. And this is the really technical part of the process between the people who are building your buildings, your general contractors, your subcontractors, and the people that design the buildings. And what's really important about there is there can be some critical changes that happen in this process that are technically correct, but are not what you want as the person or the people or the group that is actually doing this building. And we have found that with your insight, we were able to deliver a better product because you were constantly in tune with the deliverables that we were producing. Sorry, I've been talking all day. And then once that happens, we go into construction, right? And this is where your building starts to become a reality, a real asset that you have to then take care of. You have to sell spaces inside of it. You have to make sure that it's operating at a high level. And a lot of that comes down to what construction installs during that process. So what happens is this keeps you connected. It allows you to head off any problems that you're having in that process. Now, as we jump through, and let's make sure I can jump over
Brad,
here.
While you're doing that too, other thing to point out too is that, one of the biggest, or two of the biggest things that you talk about when getting a successful project delivery is trying to, reduce both the time that it takes to build that project and reduce as many errors on site as you can. And all the things that I've showed so far and that Brett is talking about is really geared towards exactly that. Having that one platform where everybody is communicating together throughout the entire life cycle to where those on-site errors and that time that gets spent is greatly reduced.
Greg's exactly correct. And some of our larger projects that we've been working on, Revizto has really been an accelerant to those projects. We worked on a very large NFL stadium out west that ended up under budget and 3 months early. And a lot of that was because of the way that they put this information together and the way they communicated with their owners who were very involved in the building of this structure. And then as we get out of the design and construction phase, right, and that contractor begins to give you occupancy, then you have to operate that building, right? And the better information that you get from your designers and your contractors and the way that you leverage that can play heavily into the way that you can operate the building through the life cycle. And that, I think that that's a really important aspect because as we get into that, while we're not a true facilities management system, one of the things that we do really well is we distribute and track tasks that have to happen in a building, right? The FM system says this room needs to be painted. How are we going to track that gets accomplished? Who are we going to assign that to? And if they find any problems with repainting that room, how do they communicate that back to you? So Revizto is really operating as a communication tool that sits on top of your FM database that allows you to actually use that intelligent information to give your crews more contextual information about the building that they're basically maintaining. One of the things that I want to point out here on this is that while everyone in this room may not understand how their buildings get built, I definitely do. And there are massive variations in the type of data that is used to actually produce your buildings before they get built. And what Revizto does for you is it allows your designers, contractors, and fabricators to bring all that data together so that you can see it in an easy to use format, but also so that you can use that data after your contractors and designers are all gone and you're on your own. And I think that that's a really important aspect as well. And I was supposed to go to the software, so I apologize.
No, and you know, one final point too that I want to make, Brett, is, you know, you guys as real estate developers, you guys are the ones that get to control and mandate what you want as a final deliverable. And in the case of related companies and University of West England and Smithsonian, they were mandating, hey, we want a Revizto model as our deliverable. So this gives you everything that you need in one spot that you can then have for that closeout and facilities management along the way.
Yes. So a couple final things about this that go above and beyond what Greg said is that if you have technology professionals that are working in your real estate company or not, all of this intelligent data is available. And, you know, to give a real quick example, because I know we're coming up on time, you know, everything is an asset. You own all of this. Everything from this chair to that staircase, all has to be managed by the real estate company. And retrieving information about these objects, as I dive in here, is very easy, right? You start talking to your interior designer. This isn't the chair. This isn't the finish that we wanted for our cafeteria. And I want you to change that. And that's something that you may have not even known until you've seen the chair sitting there when you walked into your building for the first time. Now imagine scaling that among everything inside of your building, from statues to, you know, existing, you know, rooms that may have been added on, or any asset that you have, Wi-Fi routers. Having all that information is critical to get into the FM system, and is also critical in communicating to your maintenance crews and your occupants what exactly this information is.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Greg and Brett. This has been an incredible presentation, and we really appreciate you sharing these insights with us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. For the audience, it's time for you to make your way to your next session. And along the way, make sure you accept your connection request, as well as check out our amazing exhibits. Thanks so much, and we'll see you around.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.